Welcome to Wild World News. Well, Magnus, welcome back to some Wild World News, because Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter. They have reached a deal, from what I understand. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. Don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But I only got one question for Mr. Musk. Will you clean that cesspool up? Just like I said in my video the other day entitled, "This is Nuts." It's like the patients are running the asylum over on Twitter. Something is really wrong over there. It's full of bullying, hatred, and harassment. And I'm never over there. I just go over there to post my videos. Once in a while I'll post a poll or a couple of pictures, and that's it. I'm like never there. But every time I do go there, I have to ban several people. So let's see what CNN has to say.
Breaking news right now. Elon Musk is buying Twitter for an estimated $44 billion. Let's get right to CNN chief media correspondent Brian Stelter and CNN reporter Matt Egan. Okay, let's start with you, Matt. This wasn't going to happen. It was on, it was off, it was on, off. Now
I had heard
it's on.
Like,
it's on. This means that the world's richest man is going to effectively control one of the most influential platforms in the internet. This was weeks after Elon Musk, launched this hostile bid to try to acquire Twitter. There was a lot of resistance. A lot of people were betting against it. Now the board has come out and they say that they've reached a deal. Elon's going to buy the company for $54.20 in cash. It values Twitter at about $44 billion. The deal is expected to close later this year. In a lot of ways, this is classic Elon Musk. I mean, everyone was skeptical that he could pull this off.
You say $54?
Even being serious
because he owns most of the stock.
He is being serious, and now they have a deal.
He's been critical of Twitter for quite a long time now. How do we get to this point now that it's his?
Number one, he showed he had the financing a few days ago. He started to woo large shareholders,
so I guess he wants to turn it around,
and that's why over the weekend, Twitter's board had to sit down with him, strike a deal overnight that finally was announced a few minutes ago. So how do we get to this point? Well, here is someone who was able to prove he could actually do this, prove he could bring the company private, and now, barring any hiccups, it is his. He does say in a statement here, free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. So in his mind, this is very serious and has been
debated, all right.
He says he wants to make Twitter better than ever by, quote, enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating the spam bots, he says, and authenticating all humans. So he is approaching this in the same way he approaches Tesla and SpaceX. He's on a mission. He wants to save the digital planet, and in his mind, Twitter is critical to that.
Except that we're all more affected by this than we are SpaceX and Tesla. This affects all of us in terms of misinformation. How will this change our lives? And when he says open it up to free speech, does that allow more misinformation on the platform?
I think we're going to have to see what he does and exactly what worrules he decides to follow or not follow. There are obviously local and
that could make things worse.
Laws all over the world that apply to these platforms.
Free
He's going to have to follow at least some of those rules, I would expect.
It's a good thing to have.
It's to be seen.
Yeah.
He hasn't really released any details, any specifics yet, and he hasn't really had to. About
when you hear free speech, it makes you wonder exactly what a person means by that. You know what I mean?
He said in his offer letter that Twitter needs to be transformed as a private company. There are a lot of people on the right who believe that, as he talks about free street speech, and he says he hopes even his worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means. What does this mean for the former president who's been kicked off of the platform?
And that spirit, which is on screen right now, that is actually that's the right spirit, right? He wants even his fiercest critics to be in the debate and be on Twitter and to be heard. Now, what that means for Donald Trump and for other politicians who get booted off this platform, that's going to be a big question on day one whenever he actually walks into the office and takes control of this platform. He can, in theory, rewrite all of those rules. When I refer to laws about hate speech and about pornography on platforms, there's not a law that forbids Twitter from having Donald Trump on. That was a company choice, a company policy chance. I suspect those policies are going to change. When reading through the lines of this press release, the board decided it had to take this offer. The board did not want to take this offer necessarily. I said they looked for other buyers, of every indication. They now have to hand over the keys to Elon Musk unless there's a snag. I do suspect we're going to see politicians who were booted off get back on. Whether that's actually a good thing for Donald Trump, completely different question. Yeah. Whether it's actually a positive for him to be back on Twitter, completely different question.
Why wouldn't it just be a positive? He would
to have him back in the news cycle around the world.
Meaning for him. Why wouldn't it be positive for him to be back, to have a huge megaphone, to maybe run for president with his huge megaphone? This would be a plus for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You could also make the case that Donald Trump suddenly be back in the news, very visible in a way that he hasn't been, would remind people of exactly why he was, why he lost his election, and why he was booted from office. So look, who knows? I think that's an example of a broader question for Twitter, which is, if you get invited to something where there are no rules, where there is total freedom for everybody, do you actually want to go to that party? Or are you going to decide to stay home? And that's a question for Twitter users. Some Twitter users might love the idea that there's going to be absolutely no moderation and no rules at all. Others might not want to be anywhere near that. Am I crazy, Matt?
No, you're right. And what happens to the advertising? I mean, if there's no moderation or little moderation, do the advertisers stay away? What does that do to the business prospects for Twitter itself?
And that's very much an open debate, and we don't know the answer yet. We're going to find out from Elon Musk.
We'll see where it goes. Ryan, Matt, thank you.
Well, that's very interesting, because when you talk about free speech, there's certain parameters that people follow with it, and usually people are talking about, politically, when they're talking about free speech. So right now I know that Twitter does have specific rules over there against bullying and harassment and certain things you can say and can't say, while attacking people. So does that mean he's going to take those rules away and then it's just anarchy over there? You know what I mean? Is it just Mad Max? Is it post-apocalyptic? Everything just people attacking people? And is it Fist of the North Star? Like, what's it going to be over there? Just anything goes? Or will they still have free speech, but they're not silencing people like Donald Trump or other people, you know what I mean, that have something to say? It's like, as long as you stick within our parameters, you have a voice, which is what sounds best to me while I'm rationally thinking, like, as long as you stick within parameters of not, harassing people and hatred and, bullying and, attacking, like, as long as you stick within those parameters, okay. You know what I mean? So, and then there's people that would say, well, where are those lines at? Because someone could find a joke as an attack. Someone could, just find heated discussions as an attack when they're really not. It's just passionate debates, So I'll leave that up to Musk and all his peoples and his board to figure out. I will see how it goes. I will see how the climate of Twitter shifts as he takes control. This should be very, very interesting. I am definitely for free speech and people being able to say, express their ideas, you know what I mean? But I am not for attacking people and harassment and bullying and all that other stuff. So we're going to see how they, do this. Post comments down below. Let me know what y'all thought. If you enjoyed my reaction to this, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share.